So the setup is very important. So you can see this skier is going uphill, and that is actually, I would say, likely the best way to get up a hill that's covered in snow is with some kind of, it's an analogy that I thought about using that wouldn't work, and it's obviously this doesn't really tell you much, just saying what is science. Oh, right, and then let's see if we can set all this up perfect. Okay. Can you read quantity, order, relevance? Because those are very important parts of the science. And cooking is not a science. Sort of. I think that it is a science. Oh, I was going to change the slide. Oh no, I didn't even remember I put this one in here. Okay, but at least we have this pie chart going. So quantity is a part of science, and so a teacher may be using time. Maybe they're doing some tests with the number of questions or something, and you get some wrong, and then they know how good you were doing. Oh, and then they teach one thing after the other. They introduce principles, and then after that, there's some relevance to some field, like physics. Let's get the cooking part of the cooking show going. Making some cookies, so that means that you have to use butter and 2 eggs and sugar, and I'm not going to explain all the ingredients. So if you want to build a house, you have to use physics, and you have to have some bricks and some concrete, and also you have to have some water and all these different amounts of people working and all that. And whoops, the trash is over here today. We're having an issue. No, we're not. We're good. Okay, but also physics can study a bubble. And, oh, wait. There it is. Yeah. Okay, so it has surface tension, intermolecular forces, some volume that has some pressure inside of it. So these are all some relevant measures, for example. And physics is a very useful field. It has not only the order of all this that you take into account, but also you're going to be having some relevance too. You don't just measure. If you want to measure this bubble, then you aren't going to measure the screen unless it's the bubble on the screen. So, all right, quantity. Oh, is this? If I can go back, oh, I can. Okay, International Scientific Standards of Measurement. Those are all based on some standards. So here's the eggs. Here's some brown sugar. Whatever, nobody really cares. So the point being, though, that at least that's done. And we know that everybody knows science has like some values and all that. But order, you're like, yeah, I know that you do something over and over again like 100 times, and then it's definitely true like 100% of the time. And it's definitely whatever. But is there some order to what you're doing? And does the order matter? And is it relevant to whatever you're studying? In this case, do I need it to be? No, I don't need it to be sweeter. So the brown sugar goes in the coffee tray. Relevance. Okay, so think about music, or think about, that's dumb. All right, think about a mess. Okay, sometimes, oftentimes, when somebody is trying to figure out what works, you do like the exact opposite, and then that way you know why it's important. See? Before, okay, let's not compare, but the point being, what's the science here? Okay, I gotta mix these guys up. Well, the universe is homogeneous. There's very little stuff going on. It's mostly just empty space, they say. It's mostly just like something that you can't even measure. It looks crazy town. No, it doesn't look, I mean, it looks actually like they put some of this on top of that, and you can tell a person was there. 10% of the U.S. hoarders, so this is what 10% of the U.S. houses look like inside of them, but outside, we all know that there's some, it's irrelevant. Okay, so what's another field of science other than, oh, why are these findings relevant? Why does it need to be relevant? Because science, I don't know. Oh, this is Gestalt, right? So it isn't like we're just science. Like everything is science if there's a person involved. But if it's technically like a Gestalt science, meaning a good science, or like it's the one that has good order and all that. Don't worry, we're almost to biology because I don't know anything about counting beans. Like, is that a science? I mean, this isn't it isn't even like an issue. Like we all know that there's. This is biology. So biology is another field of science. You can use, just like physics, you can use, and also you can use chemistry, and you're studying life. It's an emergent quality of basic substances, and Gestalt sciences can account for emergent qualities. It isn't just quantity. Although someday they say that everything will be just quantity. So everything kind of comes down to math, right? But the field is what is psychology? Is that a science? Okay, you can see here's a psychological test that is given to people. And now obviously they give them one or the other. So you're kind of getting the spoiler alert here. Yes, that is how you make the cookies poofy and not just like a chunk. You put a little bit of that in there. And this is what you give to people, and they will take much more longer if they don't really know. If it's correct, then they have to correct it, or if it's incorrect, then they have to correct it, and then it takes more longer. And that's a basic psych experiment that proves that it isn't just responding, and there's an emergent quality of right. So is it conspiracy? Pizzagate is. So I don't know. Oh, they're saying Pizzagate is not fake news. So that's kind of a mouthful, right? Is it fake news? I'm gonna get the oven going, but is Pizzagate fake news? The answer is an obvious no, because somebody went into that pizza shop and actually there was serious results from when somebody says that something is true, like, or that then they say it's news, or if somebody believes it. So yeah, I mean, if you don't know the Pizzagate story, then you weren't following the news for the last 5 years, and I really don't care about you. But the point being that Oh, right, I'm looking for the white chocolate chips. Did I already? Yeah, there they are. So there's some different attitudes that you can go into life with that have nothing to do with science, although they do have to do with isomorphic principle of the universe. Gestalt sciences will all boil down one day to some quality, like I was thinking, okay, riding the gravy train. You can say everything is gravy, and that is actually scientific fact. You can go through and prove it over and over again. You can have a million experiments that prove that everything is like DNA, and the reality is that is sort of true, but it doesn't yield any relevant results. So why is everything not DNA or gravy? Or is everything great? Where's the garbage? Is everything this or that? No. Order. The reality is that I need another one of these clippies. And I'm not trying to be, and everything's not funny. There is some science of humor, but is that relevant? No. Oh, right. So this was the original standard stock template. That's what and right. Okay, keep going, guy. You're almost done, obviously, because you ran out of stuff, and you're almost done with the cookies. So why is the universe isomorphic? And are these cookies everybody gonna love them? There is no question about it. However, so that, but everything is math, right? That's what mathematicians say. And also everything is right is gravy, and I have a I mean, how long have I just been doing nothing, like going back and forth looking for, is everything a waste of time? Of what? It's just awful. But what can you do? Once you film it, then you have to put it on YouTube. And is everything YouTube? There you go. Is the isomorphic principle of the universe relevant? Yes. Oh, why is DNA not the answer? Because epigenetics, and 90% of our body is actually, you know what? I don't want to get into gross stuff, but like, I mean, what are people anyway? Are we all just people? Are we all human? Or is there? It's like 90% of our mass actually. What do you call them? Exactly, bacterium. And so they're doing a new survey or whatever, but epigenetics isn't even about bacteria per se, although that's definitely relevant. It's about how the fact that just because you have the DNA doesn't mean it's being expressed. The phenotype that your DNA expresses is not the same as what's actually there. So in order to express it, you have to get all the junk off the outside of the DNA. And this is very scientific, and you have to use a microscope. And it's not really relevant. So there you have it. Look at that. Whoa, wow.